Hi everyone, welcome to Search Research and a new video where I teach you not only some basic concepts of research but also certain advanced concepts. In today's video, I will teach you what are the different types of variables if you look at them from the viewpoint of the study design only. Now in a separate video, I have explained what are the different types of variables from the viewpoint of the unit of measurement. You will find it in the description section below. But in today's video, I will focus on mainly two types of variables purely from the viewpoint of the study design. Now remember, variables or a variable is a term which is frequently used in research. It is pertinent to define and identify the variables while designing a research project. A variable incites excitement in any research than constants. It is therefore critical for beginners in research to have clarity about this term and the related concepts. Now, a study that examines association or causation may be a controlled or a contrived experiment, a quasi-experiment, or an ex post facto or a non-experimental study. In controlled experiments, the independent or the cause variable may be introduced or manipulated either by the researcher or by someone else who is providing the service. In this situation, there are two sets of variables: active variables and attribute variables. Now, what are active variables? Active variables are those variables that cannot be manipulated, changed, or controlled. You cannot manipulate them. They can be manipulated, they can be changed or controlled. However, attribute variables are those variables that cannot be manipulated, changed, or controlled, and that reflect the characteristics of the study population. So that can be age, gender, education, income, religion, etc. Compared to active variables that can be manipulated, changed, and controlled, such as any kind of teaching models or program service or food habits that you want to study in a population. Now, suppose a study is designed to measure the relative effectiveness of three teaching models: teaching model A, B, and C. Now, the structure and content of these models could vary, and any model might be tested on any population group. So this is something that you can manipulate, change, or control. So you can manipulate with the structure and the content that you will introduce through a teaching model. Now the content, structure, and testability of a model on a population group may also vary from researcher to researcher. However, on the other hand, a researcher has no control over characteristics of the student population, such as the age, gender, or motivation to study. So these characteristics of the study population are called attribute variables. However, a researcher does have the ability to control and or change the teaching model. He or she can decide what constitutes a teaching model and on which group of the student population it should be tested, provided of course if randomization in sampling is not used. So variables are often characteristics of research subjects, such as their age, health, beliefs, or weight. Variables which cannot be manipulated, of course, will be called attribute variables, and the variables that the researcher creates are the active variables. So if I can simplify it, active variables can also be your independent variables. For example, effectiveness of communication board in meeting the needs of the intubated patients. Or communication board is an active independent variable, as it can be modified according to the needs of the patients or according to the requirement in the study, and it is a researcher's concept. It is also the cause. That means it is the independent variable. Attribute variable is a variable where we do not alter the variable during the study. It can also be the independent variable, but it has certain limitations. Now, some attribute variables, of course, I've told you are age, gender, blood group, color of eyes, etc. You might want to study the effect of age on weight. We cannot change a person's age, but we can study people of different ages and weights. An active variable in one study could be an attribute variable in another study, depending on how you view it from the point of the study design. And that is why I said that there could be different types of variables from the viewpoint of the study design. But to simplify it, remember, when you are designing your research project, make it very clear to the examiner, to the reviewer, to the reader of your paper or your thesis, what are the variables involved in your study? How are certain variables defined only as active variables and certain variables are attribute variables? Remember, in your research, they could vary. But if you know the definition and if you can clearly outline from the beginning what were you able to manipulate and what were you not able to manipulate, depending on, of course, your study design, depending on the population you have chosen to study. Now, one might say that I can choose to study a population of people of the same age. Yes, you can do that. That is not random sampling. That is selective sampling, where you are choosing to research on a population of a particular age only, or a particular gender only, or a particular religion only. But if you are going for random population testing, then of course you cannot control the age, the gender, the religion, the attitude, the color of eyes, their height, so on and so forth. So it is very important that in your research you clearly define what is the dependent variable, what is the independent variable. There are of course other types of variables as well, such as extraneous, continuous, discrete, categorical, demographical, active, attribute. So but it is very important that you clearly define the variable, and then you explain why certain variables are active variable in your research and why are some of them attribute variables in your research. I hope this video was useful for you to get a basic understanding of why variables are important and how you can define them based on the viewpoint of the study design only. Please like, comment, share and subscribe, and I will see you soon with my next video. Bye for now.